Question 14. So now 8 feet length of a 4-inch wide chrome moldings costs $14. So 8 feet costs $14. So that tells us a ratio, right? So 8 feet, we can write it down, costs $14. That give us a rate. The question is, how much will it cost to buy 40 feet? To buy 40 feet, right? We don't know. Let's call it X feet. No, 40. What I'm crazy here. 40 feet. To buy 40 feet costs how much? How much? We don't know how much. Let's see, X dollars, right? So proportion equation again. We can solve by proportion, thinking, okay, from A to 40, what do I have to do? I have to multiply by 5. 5 times A is 40. So that means 14 to X, I have to also multiply by 5, right? We can only multiply by 1. The numerator multiply by 5, denominator multiply by 5. That's the same as multiply by 1, because 5 divided by 5 is 1. So what's 14 divided by 5? Well, 4 times 5, that's 20. Then this 1 is in the tens place. So 10 times 5, that's 50. 50 plus 20 is 70. Well, of course, you can use calculator, right? So in that case, we get X equals to 70. So for 40 feet of 4 inches wide crown molding, it costs $70. Costs $70. Well, if you ask this 4-inch wide, it's just a part of, part of the molding. The molding is 4 inches wide. It has nothing to do with the length of the molding, because the length of the mold, because the cost depends on the length of the molding, has nothing to do with this 4 inches wide. All right, so there is one way to solve, or also we can do cross multiplication, right? Cross multiplication is see, okay, I can cross multiply these two to get A times X. During the calculation, we can forget about the units. Okay, we're not going to carry foot, feet, dollar sign with us. Then I have 14 equal to 14 times 40. So 14 multiplied by 40. How do I do that? So AX, I want to get a 1X. So I want to get a 1X. So I need to divide by 8. Because A divided by 8 gives me 1X. Then 14 times 40 divided by 8, I can think A goes into 45 times. And of course, you can use a calculator, okay? So then we get a 14 times 5, which we have calculated here already, which we know is $70. Right? And then we carry on the dollar sign. Okay, that's for question 14. We set up the rate first because we're told for 8 feet costs $14. So that's a rate. Then for 40 inches, for 40 feet, how much money? So set up proportion equation and solve it. Okay, let's see 15. Question 15 is saying a friend lends you $200 for a week, which you agree to repay with 5% one-time interest. So how much will you have to pay? Okay, this keyword is one time. So we know we want to apply simple interest rate equation. So that's amount of money equals to principal plus your interest. Right? Remember how to calculate the interest? Interest is your principal multiplied by 5%. Right? Because it's only one time. So it's multiplied by 1, but multiplied by 1 is still itself. So that means what's the plug-in? What's the principal? 200. Right? Then plus 200 multiplied by 5%, 0.05. And then you can use a calculator to calculate the repay is 200 plus 200 times 0.05, that's $10, right? Because these two zeros help you to move this decimal 2 places. You get 2 times 5, which is 10. So 210. So, right. So you repay $210. The interest is $10. Okay, that's question for 15 and 14.